Shalom. I want to begin the lesson off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKorash. Double blessings and honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Back here with another lesson through the spirit, man. Just trying to find a topic to talk about for my lesson today, and couldn't really find anything that intrigued me or anything that really moved my spirit. When it came to stuff in the news, I know there's a lot going on, but sometimes, man, you just kind of get tired of talking about the same stuff over and over again. That and then just focusing strictly on the news too. So I just wanted to come at y'all with something a little different. It's a conversation that myself and a brother had the other day, basically talking about catching hell and whatnot from the Lord, and then just in life in general, how certain brothers, chastening will be different than others, and their daily struggles and whatnot, what they have to go through. But in actuality, we're pretty much getting chastened equally. It's just depending on how your situation is, how your circumstances are. It's how the Lord deals it out to you, basically, is what we were talking about. And as the scriptures read, man, the Lord is never going to give you a test or too much that you can't handle. Let me see if I can find that precept. And I got that pulled up. So that's one of the precepts I'm gonna pull out. But yeah, that's the basis of my video, man. This lesson shouldn't be too long. I just wanted to go into those precepts and add whatever tidbits and whatnot, whatever little 2 cents I have to put on that. And yeah, man. So with that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and get to this lesson. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 11, and it reads, "My son, despise not the chastening of Yahweh, neither be weary of his correction. For whom Yahweh loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delighteth." Okay? So, let me see. Let me get that word chastening.
Strong's H 4148. Musar.
This is discipline, chastening, correction. Discipline, correction, chastening. Right? And the Lord is going to continuously chasten us, correct us, as well as discipline us, man. That also goes into being humble, man. Right? Being of a humble spirit. I always pray that the Lord keeps me in a humble spirit, man, because as the scriptures read, I always like bringing this out. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty look before a fall. Right? You never want to be proud. You know, be content with the things that you have, because it could always be worse. Right? It could always be worse. So be content with the things that you have, man, because that's the portion that the Lord gave you, and what He wants you to have right now, right? That's just one thing you should always keep in mind. Number one, man, if anything is going bad for you, I always just say to myself, it could be worse, and then I just give thanks to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, because you know that He's the one who's doing whatever it is that's going on. He's the one that's controlling it, right? No one else. So just always got to keep that in mind, man. I was talking to one of my coworkers today, and basically was telling her that I was about to get a haircut tomorrow and whatnot, and I was gonna be looking all good. And I was like, you know what? I said, let me not get too big headed. I said, let me just calm down and just stay in a humble spirit. And she's like, it's okay to not be and I was like, I think she said it's okay to not be humble or something like that. And I said, no. I said I want to be humble. I said it's better to be humble than to be proud. And she said, no, it's okay to be proud. And I'm just thinking like, this is how women think, man. They don't understand that though. It's better to be humble than to be proud, man. It's better to dwell with the lowly, right? Because that pride, a lot of people have failed because of their pride, man. Too proud of spirit. You know, that type of spirit runs our people. Just in general, that's just Jake in general. But as the scriptures also read, man, boast not thyself of tomorrow, because thou knowest not what a day may bring. And that also goes into pride and humbling, right? And humility, man. That's another thing, humility. There's a lot of things that us as brothers in this truth go through on a daily basis that if the average person were to go through a day in our shoes, man, they wouldn't be able to survive. And that's just, I'm not talking about just the things on a carnal level. I'm talking about the things on a spiritual level as well, because what they don't realize, if anybody is looking on from the outside looking in, is that we also are dealing with spiritual warfare as well, and that's a continuous battle. That's a battle that doesn't stop. It's always going on, whether you're doing things in the flesh or not, whether you're doing things carnally or not, right? That spiritual battle is always going to be there. So it's never, we're always working, man. Even when we're off, we're always working. Until the Lord tells us that, until the Lord sends Yahweh Bashim Yahushua down, until the Lord sends Yahweh Shah down to where we can get our rest, then the battle doesn't stop. All right? So just keep that in mind. It says, verse 13, happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. That comes from fear of the Lord. All right, this is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 4, and it reads, a father's discipline. Ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin. It says, and ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him, right? And that's kind of what Job's friend was telling him, Eliphaz. Let's put this real quick and go back to that precept. Starting at the first verse, it says, then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, if we essay to commune with thee, wilt thou be grieved? But who can withhold himself from speaking? Because thou hast instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands. Thy words have upholden him that was falling, and thou hast strengthened the feeble knees. So he's telling Job that you've lifted up all these people, encouraged them, and whatnot, helped them out through their lives. It says, but now it is come upon you, Salaki. But now it is come upon thee, and thou faintest. It toucheth thee, and thou art troubled. Is not this thy fear, thy confidence, thy hope in the uprightness of thy ways? Because Job was a man that had great integrity and was righteous. a righteous servant of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And then NLT starting at verse 3. In the past you have encouraged many people. You have strengthened those who are weak. Your words have supported those who are falling and falling. You encourage those with shaky knees. But now when trouble strikes, you lose heart. You are terrified when it touches you, right? And it says, doesn't your reverence for the Most High give you confidence? Doesn't your life of integrity give you hope? So he's basically saying this life that you've led, you know what I'm saying, you've done great things in your life. And now that you've come upon hard times, perilous times, now you want to fold, basically, is what he's saying, Salakia. But he's telling them you should be confident, number one, from your fear and your trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Number two, the fact that these things are happening to you, right? Because as I'm about to get into that scripture, going back, the Lord chasteneth those who he loves. So that means if you're not catching hell from the Lord, then what does that say? All right, going back to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 4. Ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? If ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons. So that means you're not a son of the Most High. As a reason why, like I told you all, I've said this before, even when I was not in the truth, I didn't know this as a kid, I knew that like there were certain things that I couldn't do or get away with that other kids could, because I was held to a higher standard, right? And brothers probably can attest to that as well, man. Something might work for somebody else, but then when you try and do it, it doesn't work for you. And the Lord will make an example out of your ass. And that comes with humility as well. And I've even had things like that happen to me when I was in school. So it's in the NLT, and it says, and have you forgotten the encouraging words the Most High spoke to you as his children? He said, first and foremost, the fact that you're an Israelite, that you know that, like I said before, it should be the best news that you have, because we're the Lord's chosen children. We're the Lord's chosen people, man. And there's nothing, you can't have nothing greater than that as a person on earth. Especially if we're part of the elect, Lord willing, man. Man. It says, he said, my child, don't make light of the Lord's discipline and don't give up when he corrects you, right? Because the Lord is going to always test us, man. All these things that we're going through now in our daily lives is preparing us for the set of perils that are about to come upon the earth. So when those things come, it's going to feel like a test run to us, because we've already been catching hell when everybody else was in a state of relaxation. That's why it says, man, that's why we say, man, the script is about to get flipped real soon. For the Lord disciplines those he loves, and he punishes each one he accepts as his child. As you endure this divine discipline, remember that the Most High is treating you as his own children. Whoever heard of a child who is never disciplined by his father, right? As it says in the book of Zechariah, the 13th chapter, I will try them as silver is, I will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried, right? Meaning he's going to put you through the fire, he's going to put you through the test. But he never said that he was going to melt you, right? That he was going to completely destroy you. It's a test. If if the Most High doesn't discipline you as he does all of his children, it means that you are illegitimate and are not really his children at all. And it says, furthermore, we have had, this is in the KJV, furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection under the Father of spirits and live? For they verily for a few days chasten us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous, right? When you're in it, it feels like hell, man. It really does. It never feels good. But you just gotta remember, number one, why you're in it, why it's happening, and give thanks that it is happening. It says, nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Yeah. And you're gonna learn a lesson from that and learn how to move better going forward. That's what correction is for. It says it's NLT verse 9. It says, since we respected our earthly fathers who disciplined us, shouldn't we submit even more to the discipline of the Father of our spirits and live forever? For our earthly fathers disciplined us for a few years, doing the best they knew how. Right. But the Most High's discipline is always good for us, so that we might share in his holiness. No discipline is enjoyable while it is happening. It's painful, right? As the elders tell us, man, be comfortable with the uncomfortable. But afterward, there will be a peaceful harvest of right living for those who are trained in this way. Right. So it's a good thing. It's good that we go through these things, right? Let me get this. All right, this is the book of 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 14. Let's get verse 12. For the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are open unto their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil. And who is he that will harm you, if ye be followers of that which is good? Right? That's why the Lord tells us to not fear those who can kill the body, but fear the one who can kill the body and the soul, which is the Heavenly Father. But and if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled. But sanctify the Lord our God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear, having a good conscience, that whereas they speak evil of you as evildoers, they may be ashamed that falsely accuse your good conversation with a Mashiach. For it is better, if the will of the Most High Power be so, that ye suffer for well doing than for evil doing. Like I said, man, I always say this whenever I'm mentioning things like this. I'd rather suffer for righteousness' sake than to suffer for wickedness' sake. I would rather suffer for righteousness' sake than to suffer for wickedness' sake. And I'm going to stand by that. Because you suffering for righteousness' sake, at least you're trying to do the will of the Most High Power. You're trying to do something right, correct. You suffering for wickedness' sake, yeah, you're doing something for the Lord, but it's on the left-hand side. And that's not going to profit you at all, right? right, let me get this. This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 4 and verse 11. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of the Most High. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which the Most High giveth, that the Most High in all things may be glorified through Yahushua Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice inasmuch as ye are partakers of Mashiach's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. Right? And when his glory is revealed, it's going to be when he comes back on those chariots, and his name and himself is magnified throughout the whole earth. Right? That he is coming to rule the nations with a rod of iron. And it's not going to be no other way. I'm going to read that in the NLT, starting at verse 12. Dear friends, don't be surprised at the fiery trials you are going through, as if something strange were happening to you. Instead, be very glad, for these trials make you partners with Hamashiach in his suffering, so that you will have the wonderful joy of seeing his glory when it's revealed to all the world. And skipping down to verse 19, you all can read about this if you like. It says, wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of the Most High Power commit the keeping of their souls to him in well-doing, as unto a faithful Creator. So it says, so if you are suffering in a manner that pleases the Most High, keep on doing what is right, and trust your lives to the Most High who created you, for he will never fail you. Right? I believe this is my last precept, and I'm going to close it off here, man. Did I speak too soon? This is the book of 2 Corinthians. Let me see. This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 8. It says, for this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Hamashiach may rest upon me. Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities and reproaches, and necessities and persecutions, and distresses for Hamashiach's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong. I am become a fool in glorying, ye have compelled me, for I ought to have been commended of you. For in nothing am I behind the very chiefest apostles, though I be nothing. So let me read that, the NLT, and close it off there. It says, 3 different things I begged the Lord to take it away. Each time he said, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. And that's Yahushua speaking. And that is a fact, man. We mentioned that at camp the other day. So now it be times where you don't even know how you're going to make it, man. But the Lord just give you the strength to push through. So now I am glad, or it makes a way. So now I'm glad to boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Hamashiach can work through me. That's why I take pleasure in my weaknesses, and in the insults, hardships, persecutions, and troubles that I suffer for Hamashiach. For when I am weak, then I am strong. That's true, man. When you're in your weakest point, that's when you really see how strong you are. You have made me act like a fool, boasting like this. You ought to be writing commendations for me, for I am not at all inferior to these super apostles, even though I am nothing at all. Right? And even then, still showing a sense of humbleness. The Apostle Paul. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to those out there listening and watching. I'm going to close it off there. Call Allah Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah Bahashim Rakaha Korash. Double blessing and honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah. And until next time, I say Shalom Israel. Shalom. And as always, we're one day close to the kingdom, man. Shalom.